Yo, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. You already know we have to keep the train running. We have to keep it going. This is basically week 36. Episode 36, man. Everybody that taps in. Thank you to everybody who listens on iHeart and all the other audio platforms. Everybody who taps in on their way to work in the morning, so forth and so on. I appreciate you because you said you want to be the wealthy sibling. So let's get into it and let's talk the mindset of wealthy people and the chosen people of the family who sometimes just doesn't get the choice. That doesn't understand that we want to be the ones who change it, our whole family's money story, man. So let's get it, man. From the entrepreneur, from the everyday person who just say, bro, I want to be wealthy. I want my life to be different. I want more than what we were born into. You feel me? And let's talk about it. Let's talk about some opportunities. Let's talk about, we got to talk about SpaceX. SpaceX is the talk of the town. Everybody got SpaceX fever, which is a good way to put it. SpaceX fever. This was something that's sort of quiet as kept. That for some bad reason, a lot of people have been doing these things in Vegas, right? Vet, so forth, but Vegas got some reinvestments in Vegas or Nevada of the state probably won't look the same, man. And one of the things that came across my timeline recently this week, man, AI powered restaurants. Would you ever thought that was a thing? Now I've seen full blown what you would say autonomous, right? Not AI in the manner of that we think, but autonomous restaurants are small, like they call like bodegas or corner stores, a little like in China. Like I've seen videos of a full blown robot, or there's some in America. John O'Brien had put a video out of a full blown robot making your coffee, right, as a quick to do, right. That's a small version of a restaurant, so we're probably not that far, but let's go into it, man. So finding opportunity where others see headlines, which is true. I don't want to talk about headlines and the impact of the market. Out of why why is this man still arguing with Iran? This why, like, why you can't leave my money alone? And for those who don't understand, they like, Marcel, bro, what in the world does this have to do with your money, sir? The geopolitical impacts mess with my money when it messes with the flows of the market. Now, you may not see the same erratic flow because the market as a whole and um big hedge funds and what they call whales are like, we still going through this. I'ma adjust this sum, but I'm not finna go too hectic, right? I'm see what you talking about because he been repeating the same thing. Oh, few weeks, bro. It's been a few weeks. Can we keep the money going in the world? Like, what we doing? Okay, I had to get that out. I apologize, y'all. Um, but let's get into it. So, um, we got to talk about SpaceX. We got to talk about SpaceX. The IPO fever. I guess you could say I have invested in an IPO. I do have IPO on one of my brokerage portfolios. I do not classify it as, like, it's not my main portfolio. It is RRV. Um, and I liked what they had in, I believe it's ETF or index. Well, let's check because I don't like telling y'all things in speculation. So let's check live real quick. What is it? It's an index fund. I'm pretty sure this is an index fund. Yep. Is a close in fund. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is an index fund. But I'm going to be honest with you. I actually like the last three companies that are in this index fund, not even the company that, well, actually the first one. I heard about Databricks. I actually have. I've heard about Databricks, but it says that Databricks is a data and AI company which offers a unified analytical platform for processing and analyzing large scale data. So Databricks probably will be a good um, walk into the AI infrastructure evolution that's happening. But just to give you insight as to like, okay, you have invested in IPOs before, why? In my insight, okay, so uh, initial public offerings. That's what IPO stands for. Initial public offerings of companies that went from private to public, and this will be their initial public offering into the stock market and what they're claiming that their company is worth as a whole, and then that from that evaluation, the market or stock market will give it a price per share, right? It'll break down the price per share that they're also offering publicly to the market. But outside of Databricks, the ones that actually caught my eye was Ramp, which is a service that I actually ended up getting a payout from being a creator in this contest. And I did like Stanley. That was how I won the money, and that processor was Ramp, which is ironic in the same aspect. So I got to see how Ramp operated in real time as an owner. We're going to go off topic, but Ramp 11 Labs, I really like 11 Labs. Like 11 Labs alone was the one that sparked me because I like 11 Labs as a platform, and then Stripe, right? And Stripe is an amazing processor. I'm actually going to look into partnerships with them, but Stripe is a good processor. This is a person who's in business and has used Stripe. But I like Stripe as a processor, payment processor for those who are entrepreneurs. But let's get into it, right? So SpaceX specifically, SpaceX IPO fever that everybody has, and then the trades that I'm betting on, right? So let's get into the market breakdown because this is all a part of my favorite subject. If you did not know what we were doing, we get an investor insight. So investor insight is me the trades either that I am in currently, either this week, this month, this year, and I will update you weekly as the show goes on. And then the insight that I have about the overall market and the things that are impacting the market overall. So that's what this is. From your Wealth Mentor, Wealthy Sibling, your boy Marcel. All right. Now, here is how the news and articles will mainly put it. So markets are continuing to be driven by AI spending, infrastructure, and growth. And investors are demanding, our investors are in demand for the next major growth story, right? So what's the next big thing? Because everybody's sort of understanding the concreteness of NVIDIA, right? So while NVIDIA remains the center of the AI conversations, investors are increasingly searching for other opportunities beyond the obvious names. So beyond NVIDIA, beyond AMD, beyond Broadcom, beyond QQQ, bro, there's the point that Broadcom has even become expensive to trade. Like it's gotten to that point where Broadcom has become expensive to trade. But and private market excitement surrounding SpaceX continues to grow as investors speculate the future IPO. The conversation highlights a large trend, right? A larger trend. Some of the biggest wealth creation opportunities often happen before companies ever reach public market. So this is very true. So there's a speculation that when SpaceX IPOs in like 2 days, it's supposed to be this week, right? Via the air of this on 6/10/2026. But this week it's supposed to come out June 20th. June 12th. I apologize. June 12th, the official like day. So I think that's a Friday. Honestly, I think the overall market is going to be impacted because there's going to be a plethora of there's speculations of a lot of sell-offs for this particular stock, but I think the exposure and it's supposed to be coming into the NASDAQ and it entering the market space, I don't believe that it will affect the market negatively that day or the following week, to be honest. Now, let's really talk about it. And then I'll get into, well, let's talk about my trades and then because I do want to have like a real conversation with you guys. So they're waiting on that. We're all waiting on that. But here are some of my active positions and how I think it could even SpaceX, the IPO could overall impact it, right? So Ultra Beauty, one of the main reasons. So this goes back into like when you listen to the beginning of my slightly rant, the decisions that world leaders make impact the economic flow, and that economic flow impacts the market. So it impacts my money. Now, I have an Ultra Beauty call, ULTA, out till September 2026. It has now. This is a medium to high volatility stock. I'm not going to lie to you. It trades very similar, well, not as volatile as Tesla, but it's that range. It'll move $10 in a day up or down, right? Now, I'm interested in it because if the world gets a chance to relax and truly relax, most people, and I'm talking about people who aren't on a wealth journey, I'm talking about people who want the world to go back to normal, will do normal things. Go to the movies, they'll, continue to spend money as consumers. We all are. I buy stuff, you buy stuff. Buy stuff. But that's the truth of the matter. So, and I was raised by women. My mom went to like Sephora, JC Penney's, those beauty product stores consecutively every year. Very true. So I expect the same from all women like her. Consumer beauty spending remains resilient. Hey, when they say they finna get fine, they gonna go get fine and they gonna go get their favorite makeup. Now I'm speaking from this as an insight of also as an investor, a person who actually trades. Same way what I do when I be like, hey bro, everybody's still wearing Nike Techs. And I'm not saying that. Okay, let me say this first. I'm not a financial advisor. I am just a wealth advocate. Straight like that. I want you to be wealthy. I'm your wealth mentor. Let's get to it. We're gonna be wealthy siblings. Boom. But I am not a financial advisor. So anything you hear and say me talk about in the era of finance or any form was just information and entertainment purposes, right? Do your own research. Full disclaimer across all my episodes. But I understand consumer habits, right? I understand that, hey, when Xbox and PS5 drop a game, Sony or Samsung, I believe it's Sony and Activision, who are both publicly traded companies, they're going to go up. Now, it may be in seasons, but that's what's going to happen. So it's the same with the female counterpart and the consumer, bro. It's across the board, male or women. But they have a strong brand loyalty. This is true. Ultra is one of those. It's one of those. They do have premium retail as far as some highlights. So that's my overall interest in it. And I think that if the world get a chance to go back to normal, I can see it going to the upside. Now it's holding for me. It's getting that range where I may or may not have to pull it, but we're going to see. We're going to see. Which is why I don't like the headlines of the news of things getting sticky anywhere else in the world, bro. Can let Iran, Jesus. Oh, I understand the staple behind the reason, but man, as the worldly impact is different, right? Now, I actually ran across this company from the Einstein of Wall Street. I always give homage to anybody. I'm not one of those, yo, I'm the only one. I did deep dives. Bro, I come across this information from the people I follow. And I do my own like background research. Now, the ticker is HYLN. I think it's HYLN is the official name of the company. I spoke about this in one of the clips. If you go follow me on social media, Marcel Griffin. It's Marcel Griffin Speaks on Instagram. But you should be able to find me like literally if you Google me across all the platforms because it's Marcel Griffin across all the platforms. But I'm really interested in this one as a infrastructure play for the foundation of the AI revolution and evolution. Data center expansions is one of the highlights, and the energy generation becoming a major investment in the theme, and that's the next talk of town. This one specifically was very, very interesting to me when they did, and it was talked about successfully now on the local level. But I've seen news clips of an EV 18-wheeler successfully making trips from state to state, right? Locally or city to city, carrying loads. Now, again, I say, and I said this in my clip, I'm always concerned about the everyday, especially because I actually know someone who has their CDLs and they drive trucks for real. So whenever it's a industry or a job of someone who I would say know personally or otherwise, like just know in real life, and I'm like, man, I hope their job doesn't get impacted. That goes back to how I know how innovation in the job market can sound great, but when the innovation can still impact a person or industry from a person that I know in real life, I'll be like, man, I hope that everything pans out for them, right? So I don't want people who drive. Like I know two people who has the ability to go get the CDLs, and like my bro, like this is something we talked about. And CDLs was a very big going into the trade school direction for guys to get off of their feet and make good money. But it was successful. Now, what happens in that success? The company will gather spectators when things, and Tesla had already proven outside of the incidents, but overall that this is possible. You can travel, or an item on wheels can travel, function in traffic rules, traffic laws through AI without you having to drive it. People drive their Teslas and they let the navigation drive. People let the car drive for themselves. The Waymos, there's Waymos in Chicago. Like, so if you didn't know I'm from Chicago, y'all, I'm from the Midwest. But like recently, like maybe 2 weeks ago, I literally seen a Waymo drive past. That's the first time, because I had seen them in Atlanta. They was in Atlanta way early, like probably 6 months, maybe 8 months after they've been in Atlanta real early. But this is the first time recently, and this might have been a summer rollout, bro. They're in my city, and this is a pretty like heavy city. I'm not gonna hold you, like traffic wise, but it held up, bro. Like it was to the point where I was like, hey man, what you on? So I can see this company for the future being successful. And this call is out till 2027 of January. And I can actually only get this call out that far. I literally was looking out for father. I can't go no farther. So I've gotten out as far as you can. But why I'm interested in it is growing power demand for AI infrastructure, data center expansions, and the general major investment in them. Now, ONDS is strictly AI and the straight innovation. Drone technology, specifically defense application, industrial communications growth. So this is what we're walking into as far as using drone services, war or otherwise. And then where we're going to be an AI country, essentially, right? Like we have data centers in multiple states, building partnered with multiple I don't know if they're fully American, but American adjacent companies like AMD. I know they have a few data centers in America. Like it's one of those. Now let's get to what everybody wants to talk about. SpaceX IPO. Okay. So I want to get into like the key points, and then we're gonna have an open discussion about it. All right. So many investors are fascinated by the SpaceX IPO. I was fascinated by the SpaceX IPO. I had the money in my brokerage to buy a share. Like honestly, like let's say I liquidated all of my contracts, I could get like 10 shares of SpaceX prior to the IPO. This is factual. So I looked into it because my broker just gave me notifications like, hey, because you're accredited, right, trader, investor, we're letting you get into the IPOs because we have the leverage via our partnerships, right? So it was like, hey, you can get into SpaceX IPO for 100, I think it was anywhere between $125 and $135. And I'm excited, right? Like most investors, because of the aerospace, because of the telecommunications. I was watching I was watching a interview recently with Elon Musk, and he is actually talking about truly, like factually, a intergalactic separate society outside of Earth, like a full-blown we live in space. And I never thought that it would get to that point. It's cool to see on the TV, and it's so funny because in 2020, in 2008, maybe 2010, so anywhere between like 2007 to like 2012, you seen the futuristic or sci-fi movies depict these time frames: 2020, 2020, 2025, 2030, 2040. Like I would literally see, hey, this is supposed to be a sci-fi movie in the future, and the future's now, right? This is wild. But satellite internet, Starlink. So I already know that, and there's supposed to be a conjoining, right? Starlink is supposed to be merging with SpaceX eventually, and the evaluation of Tesla may go up if that goes into the bundle. Starlink, two ways I know have been doing very well. Starlink can get advertised independently for their link with T-Mobile. They have a partnership. I've seen that has been advertised, and most recently and publicly, Starlink is being used on the airlines, and don't quote me on this, but American Airlines. And I thought that was really interesting. So the airlines is using Starlink as their Wi-Fi provider. So again, if this has promise, if this is a lot of promise, if Starlink rolls into the SpaceX stock. Now, the biggest winners offer, like I said, the biggest winners often aren't the companies using technology, right? They're the company building the infrastructure behind it, right? So what should be a question you should be asking yourself? Would you rather own the next big company before Wall Street discovers it, or after everybody else is talking about it? For me, before Wall Street and everybody else start talking about it. Always before. Now, I'm going to tell you, as a person who's seen IPOs come out during the crash, how they happen, and if you are stuck in the lockout period, it will drop, and that's probably what happened. I remember when Carvana went public, it went from 130 to like 300, dropped down. Now, this may have been due to COVID because that was a different circumstance. But I've seen it though. I've just seen it in real life. So I'm giving you a real example. It dropped down to like 100 to under like $50, bro. Trash. Now we're back up to 340. That was like 2 years later or whatever the case was. And my bro, who's a trader. Oh, and we both got the same notifications from our brokerages, but certain brokerages are giving different limitations. But they are giving limitation and restrictions to, if you're buying this, you cannot sell it like people who've been invested as private investors 10 to 5 years prior to you getting it yesterday, right? You can't do that. They're stating that if you do that, now I don't know, because when I just read that these restrictions, I was like, all right, what's the risk versus the reward? What is it? let's say they allow you to still sell it, but one of the main restrictions was you can't participate in pre-IPOs anymore, like ever. And for me, it's not worth the risk because I want to monitor my discipline. And on that one, I rather be cautious in my discipline than anywhere else, right? So, what do I mean when I say that? There is a world where if SpaceX IPOs, the stock could get to 500, 750 strong. There's a world. That's a real thing, especially because it's the highest uh, IPO in history, literally. $1 trillion. But at the same time, most people they struggle with discipline in all fashions. And if that's true in everyday people, imagine it having to deal with your money. So imagine watching an IPO and you got it for $135 and it went up to $13.50 in a week. Hypothetically, I'm speculating. I know nothing, didn't see nothing. But let's say it did that. And you are an everyday person who is striving for wealth, but you don't have $10,000 in your bank account. And you need the money for an unsuspected rainy day, something really bad happening, your car breakdown, something, right? And this solves the problem of that rainy day. But remember, you can't, as you agreed that you wasn't going to sell the share of shares for 30 days or more. You said that. You're like, oh man, no, this can really happen. And so I said, what's the risk to reward? I would rather have the opportunity to get into other IPOs than not at all. Right? Now, some people, they be like, yeah, I can hold it for 30 days or more. Right? Now, on the other hand, let's say you do have the discipline to hold it for 30 days or past the restriction. So they won't say that you're just trying to do a quick flip. Right? And they literally say it like, you're not here to flip this. This is not what this is for. And if you do it, we'll restrict you. Like that, it's almost verbatim, but that's literally what it says. Don't flip it. And you hold it past the 30 days. In that same scenario where I said it can go to 13, 15 a week, that same scenario in those 30 days, it can go to $50. And now you out of 75 or, you know what I'm saying, umpteenth amount of dollars. Now you down. That can happen as well. And one of the reasons why I believe both are possible, not maybe it's necessarily in the same year or time frame, but both are possible because there are a lot of people who are also doubting the math ain't mathing on evaluation. They like, bro, the most talked about company don't even bring in as much money, and it's validated. It's not even touching the amount of billions that would relate to your company being $1 trillion. This doesn't make sense. You don't even bring up, speculate, like from public paperwork and all those other things. Like you're not bringing in enough money, even with a B on it, to substantiate or validate this $1 trillion valuation you got. That was you, big dog. You know what I'm saying? We know what it is, but we just like, bro, the math, but math don't lie no matter who you are. Math don't lie. So what we talking about? And with that, you just like, bro, what? So there's that, right? And you just don't know what's what. But also, what we don't know is what is Vegas. I don't know what's going on with Vegas and everybody getting a residency in Vegas. Everybody's getting a residency in Vegas. I don't know what is the big influx with Vegas. Maybe they got good tax write-offs, but I don't understand what it is with Vegas. It's very, very interesting, right? And one of the things that I say is very, very interesting is the overall theme of Vegas is actually changing. Vegas in Nevada as a state is known as a fun place. It's still, but now I'm seeing more entrepreneurial slash entertainment. So more of a place where you can have fun, yeah, but you could do business, right? Like it's giving New Yorkish. It's giving New Yorkish vibes of, oh, I could pull up over there, have some fun, and then handle great, immaculate business, maybe get a great house and so forth. I don't know what, how their seasons go, far as like what you deal with, how hot it be, what animals out there, if you were buying real estate. But I'm just saying, overall, what do I say? That they have an MGM resort recently introduced an all-inclusive Las Vegas package that includes hotel accommodations, meals, entertainment, and additional perks for less than many travelers actually would expect. For many decades, Las Vegas has operated on a model of hotels offer cheaper rooms to generate profits through gambling. This is true. The Vegas Strip is for you where you roll them dice, straight like that. People get married in Vegas and they bet in Vegas. That's what Vegas was built off of. That's what you go to Vegas to do. Like, just it's what it is. Which makes me want to really own a casino. And man, there's certain things that I now I sit with myself and say, is it worth the 8 hours? And when I'm talking to the everyday person, and I'm going to say this for you because I've done things that for me, they have been worth the 8 hours. For the everyday person who is trying to build wealth, for the everyday sibling who is trying to build wealth, in your car, you're going to work, or you're leaving work right now, I want you to understand something. That job, yes, is your first investor, but you have to decide what you're going to invest in. Is it going to be yourself, your health, your well-being, your mental well-being, and your future? Are you going to put the money aside to put it into a Roth IRA, to put it into a long-term portfolio, to put it into your actual dream? Are you going to do that? Or are you going to let each day you wake up and every time you clock in and out to go back to investing in them? And maybe you work at a place. I would love for you to have a career that loves you back. But I want to be truthful to you. Most of them don't. So what does that mean? They are going to invest in you. So if you need that day, take that day. If you need that mental health day, take that day. If you need to go out there and say that there's a place that for free, like I'll give you an example. And I wasn't even going to do this. This is strictly spontaneous. May 30th or 31st. Let's say that was a business day. But there was a group of people known by I think Smitty pulled up, Mr. Phenomenal, believe they pulled up in Chicago. Boss Witty, which is a grant lady, she pulled up in Chicago. And let's say this was a Monday. And you said, I want to be an entrepreneur to learn how to get my credit together, learn how to be a successful entrepreneur. They're doing the event for free for your opportunity and giving you a blueprint into how to walk into grants to try to discover this on my own and to meet the women who do it. Shout out to Boss Witty and her grant success, her webinars, all that dope person. Truly respect her as an entrepreneur, especially coming from the city. And you need to take that 8 hours. I'm a dream chaser, but I'm very ambitious. I'm going to tell you to take that 8 hours. Most people are going to tell you, man, you got a good job. You need to sit there and you got to find another way to figure it out. They're not going to give you another way to figure it out. That's the truth. And if you want to be the person you say you want to be, most of us, we ain't trying to hear that because we're going to tell you, hey, you need to go get that. Stop asking them because they're going to tell you no. That's just the bottom line. They're going to tell you no. So stop asking them. Now, getting back to Las Vegas. So you can get to Las Vegas. MGM has an all-inclusive strategy, 2-night packets, meal deals, entertainment, the consumer spending trend. But this is a real way to do it. And I'm seeing a lot of influx, right? So for me as an entrepreneur, I see this as a place to try entrepreneurship mixed with entertainment. And I can see that there are a lot of other people that have interest, right? So travel economics, consumers are traveling more. And what are one of the top traveling places? Vegas, still to this day. Still to this day. Now I'm gonna go to Vegas. One of my things that I'm going to do is I'm gonna go to Vegas in between these 5 years because I haven't been to Vegas. I've been to fun cities, but I just haven't been to Vegas, right? So I've been to St. Louis. I want to go to Kansas City, check that out. But especially for the younger generation, I think that Vegas will turn into a Cali. Vegas will turn into Miami with experiences, concerts, festivals, social activities, stuff like that. And with innovation and new things that are happening, I just wouldn't be surprised if Vegas turns into that new thing. Now, another new thing that I think about was, would you go to an AI restaurant? And would you open an AI restaurant for $10? Like if you had the opportunity to open a full-blown restaurant for $10 and run it and get revenue and put it in your pocket, would you do it? That was really, really interesting. I came across it this week. Marc Lore wants to use AI to reinvent restaurants. And my niece and a couple other people I knew who cook were really, really interested in chefing, right? They're really, really interested in restaurants. So when I heard this, I was like, yo, to me, one thing that I can't say about AI is that the way that they're approaching it is that AI gives you the opportunities and I have no excuses. To the point of where, like, if you don't know how to build something AI does, just do you have the, now here's the truth, do you have the affordability to pay for the subscription to do what you don't want to do or don't have the background to do, and AI can do it? And will you pay AI to do it? Right? So the concept focuses on using AI, automation, logistics technology, predictive systems to improve and reduce operation costs. Speculations, his vision aims to deliver high quality food experience at a fraction of the traditional operation experiences. Why restaurants matters, and I do believe in restaurants. Shout out to Cleo. Shout out to the coffee shops. Shout out to all the places. Black Operation, 14 Parish, all those. Restaurants face consistent challenges of labor costs, especially now. Everybody wants to get paid a livable wage while the cost of everything goes up. So to pay you and pay what they're charging me for everything that I want to cook and charge people for making this gets heavy, right? So labor costs, inventory management, food waste, because do you sell out every day? No. Does everybody go to your restaurant every day? No. So what you pay to have an oversupply, but you always hope you'll sell out. And in restaurants, that doesn't always happen. Slow days, slow months. I went back to the grocery store, and you know what I'm saying? Like solo, I went back to the grocery store. So imagine if I went back to the grocery store, families go back to the grocery store. So but AI can potentially help solve this. Here's the truth about it. Same technology would transform finance, healthcare, manufacturing, logistics, and now entering food service. How though, right? How will it really help solve it? Probably from labor costs, the same things. Inventory management. You need to count nobody to do that. You can lower your cost on your overall staff and any other things through these innovations, right? But would you do it, right? So would you trust the AI powered restaurant? I don't know. I still believe that people cook better. But I don't know. Does automation create efficiency or remove opportunity? I'm 50-50 with that. I believe it removes opportunity of people who, because I love to cook. So if a machine is doing all the cooking for me, how will I, as a new youth, get the joy for cooking? There's a robot doing it for me. And at the same time, it'll save me time to do everything else. Maybe it'll clean the pot. And sometimes, like if you do everything by the book, like I've tried to make dishes exactly as the cookbook says. And I always feel that when I did it that way and I didn't add my extra spice or, this season or that season to twist it up, but it didn't come out as good. So, you know what I'm saying? Each his own. But every major technology shift rewards businesses that learn to do more with less. I really do believe that. Now, if AI can transform restaurants, what industry could be next outside of what they already doing? You gotta ask that question for yourself. All right, so as we wrap up, because I gotta go, SpaceX remains investors' innovation and often creates wealth before companies go public. Very, very true. They remind them of this. SpaceX remind investors that innovation often creates wealth before companies go public. They said, I think they said they're going to make 100 or 400 millionaires when they go public. Vegas, even though I know they went on your mind outside of gambling, they're evolving from gambling first experience first, right? They're evolving from gambling first to experience first. Go have fun in Vegas, but all around fun. Business that understands change and consumer behavior often wins, and I do believe that. AI is moving beyond software and into everyday industries that I see with the whole AI running drive-thrus. An opportunity often exists where industries are being reinvented. So with all of that, man, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for joining Wealthy Sibling family. We continue to discuss investing, entrepreneurship, ownership, and building generational wealth, man. Like, share, subscribe, and we appreciate y'all so much.